So in this assignment, it involved you having to do a calculation of standard deviation and then also making a comment. So this type of question is a typical exam style question, but you need to make sure that you actually read the question and the context and don't just launch straight in there with the numbers. So this here is giving you information about a clown that performs at 8 birthday parties, and the key thing, what the question is about or what the data is actually telling you about, is the number of children who are attending each of the birthday parties. So it's quite important that you pick up on that information. It will help you with the part B later on when you need to make a comment. So first bit, there's the list of all the 8 different parties. That's the number of children that attended them. So calculate the mean number of children at a party and the standard deviation. So anytime it mentions that, you immediately need to create a table that's got 3 columns, your x, your middle column, x minus x bar, and your third column, x minus x bar squared. It doesn't tell you to do that, but I'm suggesting to you that is definitely the best way forward. So in this first column here, what you do is you list the numbers. So that was the number of children who were at each of these parties, and because you need to work out the mean, the first thing you're going to be doing is you will total the numbers in that column, hoping that you've written them down correctly and that you then add up correctly. So that sigma x at the side here means that you have totaled up that first column, and that's the first thing you do, but that in itself does not earn you a mark. In order to get the first mark in a question like this, you need to have worked out the mean, and the notation that we use for the mean is an x with a little bar above it. And what we're putting in here, you're putting that 144 on the top, so sigma x, sum of all the x's. Now what the n refers to is how many data points did you have. So if you count how many numbers were in the list, so here we've got 8, so that tells us our n value is 8. So we are doing 144 divided by 8. You do that in the calculator and you will get 18. Now that is where the first mark is awarded in a standard deviation question. What you then do with that mean value is you then take all your x's that you've written here, and for each of them in this second column, you are then going to be subtracting the mean value from each of them. So you're going to take 18 off of all of these numbers, and what that does is that gives you some values that are positive, some values that are negative. So 22 minus 18, clearly is 4. 20 take away 18, you've got 2. This one is negative 2. 3 take away 18, you've got negative 15. Negative 3. 31 minus your 18 is 9. 13, sorry, not 9. So 31 take away 18, we've got 13. And 22 take away 18 is 4, and then 15 take away 18 is negative 3. So what happens with these numbers here is they now need to be squared. Now be very careful when you're squaring these numbers on the calculator. So it's fine for ones that are positive, so you're going to get 16, you have 2 squared, you would have 4. When you are squaring on the calculator negative 2 squared, you must use brackets. Right, brackets, negative 2, close the bracket, then press the x squared key. Right, when you do that on the calculator, so that you get positive 4, not negative 4. There shouldn't be any negative values in this last column. Right, it should all be positive values. Then our -3 squared, that's +9. Your 13 squared, 169. Your 4 squared, 16. And the -3 squared would be 9. What you then need to make sure you're doing with all of those is add those numbers up. So when you've added those up, right, that total comes to 452. Right, adding all of these numbers up. So this here, what that represents is the sum of all the x minus x bar squareds. So that number there is what is going to replace in your table, in your formula. So this number here, right, is the same as what this is here. Right, that 452. That's what's going in there. So far, if you've done the table and done it correctly and all your numbers are all correct up to here, up to this total point, that would, everything there would be the second mark. Now what you need to be able to do is start calculating the standard deviation, and that's, you get this formula off the formula list. So you will be subbing in to this, so you're going to have 452 over, now n minus 1 means it's going to be 1 less than the n number, so that means that here we would be dividing by 7. Now you need to make sure the tick covers all of that. Use the fraction key in your calculator to help you do this, but your value that should have come out, and you write down quite a few of the decimals, so 8.0356, whole load of other values, and round to about 1 or 2 decimal places. So in this case, you were particularly told that you needed to round to 3 significant figures. If it doesn't tell you, then it's 1, 2 or 3 decimal places. So 3 significant figures, 1, 2, 3 means that the 5 here makes the 3 go up, and that's why it would become 8.04 to 3 significant figures. So that's the first bit, and that's how to get your fourth mark. The third mark is this here. The fourth mark is these last two values. You need to state the unrounded and the rounded number. So the second part of this question is the following month, the average number, the mean number of children at the clowns' parties was 24 and the standard deviation was 4.5. Give 2 valid comments to compare. Now here's the thing, it even tells you in the sentence what it is that you're comparing, right? To compare the number of children at the parties for the 2 months. So my advice is usually put them side by side so you can see, almost use a little table to help you look at this. So we've just worked out for the first month that the mean number of children at the party was 18 and the standard deviation is 8.04. The information you've just been given is in the second month, the mean number of children at the parties was 24 and the standard deviation is 4.5. So what does that tell us? Well, you need to be able to, first of all, compare the means. So we can clearly see the second month, the mean is higher. So what does that mean? So on average, so this is what you need to write. You begin your sentence using the word average. We don't use the mean values or anything like that. You just use the word on average. There were more children at the birthday parties in the second month. That's your statement. Comparing the standard deviations, you're looking for the lower one because the lower one means less varied. So, and what that tells you is and again, it's about number of children at the parties, right? That's what you're commenting on, and that's what you need to say. The number of children at the parties in the second month was less varied, right? Try and remember the else, right? Low value means less varied.